All right, welcome to Figure It Out episode 3. Today we are going to talk about the fulfillment formula, what exactly that is, how to build your own, why you should do it, why it even matters, a couple different ways to do it, and talk a little bit about why I started doing it in the first place and how it changed the way that I look at my time, structure my weeks, make changes in my life as I feel like I want to or need to. So that's what we're going to get into today. So a fulfillment formula, what even is that? So fulfillment formula is basically a way to measure how fulfilled you are in a data-driven way. So it gives you a number, and that number can go up or down, it can change, and to me, it breaks it down to a bunch of different little categories and helps me figure out, I'm not really feeling so great lately. Maybe it's because I'm spending a bunch of time on something that doesn't fulfill me. Or maybe it's something that could fulfill me, but it doesn't. Stuff like that. So this really came about 3 or 4 years ago. I was about to graduate college, and I was really terrified to suddenly have a bunch of free time on my hands. It kind of felt like that feeling when you have a free day to yourself and you're excited to have a free day, and then you end up being so overwhelmed with all the things that you could do that you don't do anything. Like that you're just so stressed that you're like, oh my God, I could do all these things, but I want to make it the perfect day. I want to make good use of my day off or whatever it is. And then you just kind of get so paralyzed with that choice that you have no idea what to do. So I was kind of feeling that where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to graduate. I had never not gone to school full time and worked full time, so I really wasn't sure what I was going to do with myself. So I talked to somebody who was like, well, structure your day how you want to structure it. Like, just decide what works best for you. And I was like, oh my God, I have absolutely no idea what works best for me. He was like, well, do you want to get up early? Do you want to work out in the morning? Do you want to walk your dog in the middle of the day? Like, decide what you want to do. So I started to more intentionally track. So when I initially started this, I started by tracking my calendar. So I started to be a little bit more intentional with my calendar and tracking what I was doing. And I have always been a pretty calendar-driven person. Like, I would love to hang out with you. Let me check my calendar. What am I doing today? I don't know. Let me check my calendar. What am I doing 6 weeks from now? I don't know. Let me check my calendar. What did I do 2 months ago? I don't know. Let me check my calendar. So this is it here. This is generally a week for me. This is mine and Matt's calendar together. So not everything in here is mine, but for the most part, I try to block everything out, and then I'll leave notes of like what I actually intend to do that day. So like if I plan to be at the park, I'll make sure like, hey, I'm going to put in, this is what I'm doing today while I'm there. This also serves as like kind of a to-do list, which is nice to have. And it's just a great way to like plan out my week, to be like, all right, these are all the things that I plan to do. So then what I started to do was at the end of the day, I would go through my calendar and everything that I did that day, and I would just rank it. I'd be like, oh, after this was good. I liked this kind of thing, or I really hated this meeting or whatever. And that really helped me narrow down like what kind of work I even like to do. What do I enjoy spending my time on? Surprise, surprise, I actually like spreadsheets way more than I thought I would. It was that kind of work that I was like, oh, this kind of like data analytics, like this really excites me. Talking to young people was like, oh, this is exciting. Like I like to look back 5 years and say, oh, how can I help people that are like 5 years behind me or where I was 5 years ago? And there were certain things that I did not like. So it was nice to be able to pin that all down. So this was kind of iteration number 1. This was a good way and very easy because I was already tracking all of my time and tracking, what I was doing in a day. So this was kind of iteration number 1. Iteration number 2 was a spreadsheet. And I liked this a lot more because it gives me the ability to put a numerical value on things, and it makes it very obvious when my score is going up and down. I'm a fitness watch wearer, so like those kind of scores just translate really well to me. And it's good to be able to track it over time. And to be clear, I don't do this all the time. This is not like I do this every week. I do it when I feel like I'm a little directionless or I'm not really sure how I'm feeling. And it can be a good way to kind of just give myself a gut check of like, all right, what's really going on? So here's what it looks like. So we've just got activity. This could be anything you want, anything you do. These kind of 6 are where I spend most of my time. And then time spent, so this I do it in hours. And then I just do level of fulfillment. So this is on a scale of 0.0 up to 1. And it can be kind of hard to define fulfillment. Like, what does that even mean? To me, it means basically 2 different things. I could keep doing this forever. Like, I feel like I have energy by doing this. Didn't feel like I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to be done with this. Kind of that avoidance of that feeling. And in other words, it can kind of be something that gives you energy. So by the time you're done with doing it, you feel like you have maybe more energy than when you started, or at least it isn't draining on you. So I think 0 to me is like, I never ever want to do that again. I feel like I need to take a nap. I feel like I need to exercise some coping skills because I just had to do that. A 1 is like, this is the best. I loved this so much. I feel like I contributed to myself. I feel like I contributed to the world. I feel like I contributed to my organization or my friends or my family, or I feel really good about what I just did. I can't wait to do it again, or I just never want to stop doing it. So that's how that scale works to me. So, and this is on a weekly basis, and this is an average. So like, work is for me a very broad thing. I could be cutting the grass, or I could be developing a new video game, or I could be making a video like this. So very broad. So for that, it's an average. But you could also break it down to say, if you have 2 different jobs, you could easily put, I spent 20 hours at this job and this is how I felt. I spent 20 hours at this job, this is how I felt. Or, average on your week, I spend 10 hours doing data collection or whatever it might be, and break those out into different categories. Totally, you could definitely do that. Just takes a little bit more work. So time spent, I'm going to say I spend probably an average of 50 hours a week working. Health and wellness, for me, this is going to the gym. Could be anything, but for me, it's going to the gym. I go to the gym 2 hours a day, 6 days a week. So we'll call that 12. Very lucky to be able to do that. Friends, this is on the lower side. I probably only spend maybe 2 hours a week with my friends, if that. That's actually probably a high number. Family, to me, this is my immediate live with my family. So this would be my fiance and our dog. And then if I ever went to visit home, like my mom, my dad, stuff like that. So that's what I would put in here. So to me, this is like between the hours of 6 and 9 p.m. probably. And that would be 5 days a week. And then we pretty much spend all day Sunday together. So that's 15 hours plus maybe 10 hours. So I'm going to call that like 25 hours. Travel adventures. For me right now, this is 0. It is my busy time of year. I'm not really going anywhere, doing anything. So this would be a 0 for me. Hobbies, for me, that's reading, maybe playing Guitar Hero here and there. Not a whole lot else on the hobby list these days. Sometimes climbing is in there, or ice skating if it's winter. And I would say if I'm lucky, I'm spending 5 hours a week on my hobbies. So level of fulfillment. This past week, I'm going to give work a point. Let's look at my calendar. I'm going to give this last week a 0.8. I worked on an employee handbook project that I actually really enjoyed a lot more than I thought I was going to. So health and wellness, for me, this is always a point, almost always a 0.8. Friends, we'll give that like 0.7. Kind of depends what I'm doing with them. Family, we'll give that a 0.7. Nothing crazy. This is going to get a 0 because I didn't do it. Hobbies, I'm going to give this like a 0.4. So then we're going to just add this all up. So I'm going to let Google do our shit for us. So we're at a 70.5. Is that good? Is that bad? I feel pretty good about it. I think the real value in this is tracking it over time and is looking at like, hey, this is, I feel like this week it was higher, this week it was lower, blah, blah, blah. And then knowing that what levers you can pull and what levers you can't pull. Like, I will tell you this, like, I am probably not going to escape working 50 hours a week in the next 30 years. So if this number was a 0.2, if my level of fulfillment was a 0.2 from work, to me that would be like a red alert. You need to make some changes and either find a new position in your current job, you need to find a new job, you need to make some major adjustments. Health and wellness. This is a 0.8. This is an interesting one because I'm always curious to know, like, okay, if I ratcheted this up to like 14 hours or 16 hours, or if I did more, I think that level of fulfillment would go down. I think that I would feel less fulfilled the more that I did it. And I think the less I did it, I might feel more fulfilled. Like, this is like a great lever that you can pull with. If you know that if you're at a 0.8 and you're like, wow, I really like this health and wellness thing, but your hours are only at like a 4, like you should do more of it. Like, you should ratchet those numbers up as your body allows you to, but generally speaking, like, you should do more of it. Similarly, if your hours are a 5 and you're at a 0.2, like, you should find a different form of health and wellness to do. Friends, see, this is like 0.7, that's pretty good, but I only spend 2 hours a week with my friends. Like, I should do more. Like, I should hang out with my friends more. Family, I don't know. To me, 25 hours a week is like a great number. Obviously, I would love to spend all the time in the world with them, but I think 25 hours a week is like a good like number. Granted, not all that time is like intense one-on-one conversation. A lot of it is like sitting on the couch and watching Vampire Diaries. So take that for what you will. Travel, adventures. This is just my season of life right now. Hobbies. This is a great one to talk about. So I spend 5 hours a week and my level of fulfillment is 0.4. That tells me that I need to make a change and I need to find other hobbies. This is a situation where when I was young, I loved to read books. I loved it. It was like my parents grounded me from books when I was a younger kid. So I have, as an adult, said, that's my hobby. I'm a reader. And it turns out that might not be true. Either I am not reading good enough books, or maybe I just don't like to read. And, like, that's okay. It's okay to grow out of a hobby. But as I track this over time, this is a great way to say, like, oh, this season of life I was really into rock climbing. And then my fulfillment was a 0.9. And so I should do more of that. The season of life I'm into reading. And I'm at a 0.4. Something needs to change. I need to play more Guitar Hero. I don't know. So tracking this over time can give you a really solid picture of what kind of changes you can and can't make, and being clear with yourself on what can change here, right? Like, maybe you're stuck with a family that leaves you not very fulfilled. So they're your family, and there may or may not be something you can do about that, but you can spend less time with them. Similarly, if work, we already talked about, health and wellness, like, they're just all levers that you can pull. I am very focused, and I am very lucky to be very fulfilled at my job. But if my job wasn't leaving me fulfilled, there are a bunch of other areas of my life that I could really focus on maximizing and optimizing that level of fulfillment to live an overall fulfilled life. So even if you don't have your dream job yet, you can still optimize and live a fulfilled life outside of that. So that's kind of my general advice until you find a dream job, to make sure you're optimizing the rest of your life. And if your job is leaving you super fulfilled and you're working a ton, good. Don't let people tell you that, like, oh, you work too much, blah, blah, blah. Your level of fulfillment should drive most of what you do. And it really shouldn't matter what anyone else thinks.